everything is not okay in Iran. We are still waging war against everyday Iranians and have been doing so for years in the form of sanctions. Iran has been under some form of sanctions for decades. Roughly 80 to 90% of Iran's economy is under sanctions from the United States. There's really not much left to sanction. My family and millions of others have been bearing the brunt of this embargo for longer than I've been alive. While in theory, food, prescription drugs, and medical equipment are not among sanctioned goods, it's very much a different story in practice. A few years ago, with far fewer sanctions in place, over 6 million patients lacked access to essential treatment as a direct result of US sanctions. This is economic warfare. Sanctions have also destroyed the value of Iranian currency, and massive inflation has pushed millions of people into poverty. Inflation is over 50%. This has absolutely destroyed the middle class and eroded efforts being made on the ground to improve human rights conditions in the country. Time and time again, when the US has intervened, whether in the form of a coup, economic sanctions, or threat of war, everyday Iranians have been the ones to suffer.
I was raised under some of the harshest sanctions ever placed against the country. I witnessed Bill Clinton's cruise missiles pound my neighborhood during his impeachment trial. And I survived the 2003 invasion and many years of the ongoing war that followed. As I was thinking about what to say today, I realized that all of my siblings and their children were born during some form of war. 2 generations that have seen nothing but war and destruction. 2 generations that have not witnessed one day of peace. And the United States government has had some form of involvement. Today, I want to focus on sanctions, because sanctions feel easier to stomach. Because sanctions are easy to pass both the House and the Senate. Because sanctions are the favored form of war by both the Democrats and Republicans. Because sanctions are devastating the Iranian people right now. I have a vivid memory as a young child being very hungry one night, and I asked my mom for food. We didn't have any. My mother didn't know what to say or do. Her controlled panic was clear to me even as a child. I ended up crying myself to sleep, hungry. Years later, I had a conversation with my older sister, and she told me, that wasn't just that one night, it was every night for months. My mom tried to distract us and put us to sleep, earlier than usual, even by concerned parents' standards. Or we sometimes strategically slept in to miss breakfast, a mandatory brunch if you will. And when we did have food, it consisted of bread and tea, bread and yogurt, or bread and dates when dates were in season, twice a day. Not a wholesome meal by any standard. For context, I come from a middle-class family in an oil-rich country. My family was privileged. I lived in Baghdad, and we had the easiest access to food. Other people had it much worse. Millions were malnutritioned. Families had to choose if they'll let their siblings go hungry or their own children. What was the US government's response to this humanitarian disaster that it's caused? The then Secretary of State Madeleine Albright went on 60 Minutes in 1996 and said that the deaths of the hundreds of thousands of Iraqi children are, quote, worth it, unquote. These same people are still active in both major political parties. These same people are still making the same policy decisions that starve and kill. These same people announced harsher sanctions on Iran a couple of weeks ago. I'm speaking out today so that what happened to me and my people stops happening to millions of Iranians right now, stops happening period. Sanctions are not diplomacy. Sanctions are war. Sanctions kill.
Part of something that is going to go into a blind corner, maybe this time. See, I've been here before at the beginnings of the anti-war movement in 2004, and the coalitions that we had, and the eventual breakdown of those coalitions. One of the things that I have watched for ever since is that the people involved are doing the driving, and they're not being led down blind alleys by politicians who crave your vote, your power, your money, your backing, but they don't crave what you crave: a just world, an end to the suffering of innocence. On our dime, our military is now for sale to the highest bidder. Just ask President Trump. Not. But he thinks so. This is not the world that I want. I know that this is not the world that you want. But here we are, now for me, 18 years into anti-war activism. Back where we were, 2004. Well, this time, let's not make the same mistakes that we made. Let's not invest our hopes in politicians who promise us the sky, like Barack Obama did. And then the sky opened up and the bombs fell even faster. We were promised an end to this, or don't you recall? We are long overdue for an end to this madness. Each and every one of you, look to your right and look to your left and understand that these people are with you even when you're not standing together. We are not just strong together here, we are strong together everywhere. Take this into your workplaces, talk to your families, do it all over again. Get shunned again if you have to. It'll happen, believe me. But maybe this time, if everybody throws in hard and doesn't get led down the garden path, if we stay clear-eyed and keep our eyes on the prize, perhaps we will gain some ground. Let's face it, this planet is in trouble. It might all be ending. That's a fact. But how do you want to lay down and remember yourself when the lights go out? Who will you be when the lights go out? Think about that and then be that. Thank you.
Keep them. Name them. These are the companies. These are the people. These are the names. These are the brands that keep the system alive. We have to oppose them. We have to expose them. We have to name them, and we have to shame them. We have to divest from this war machine. We have to disengage our everyday lives from this system. And that is how we build a mass movement. I'm going to pass this on, but I'm going to reflect on what Katie just said. Help us build the Resist US-led war movement. Help us build and maintain a mass movement connected with people all around the world that is not going to stop, that is not going to slow down, and is going to keep on going until that better world is there at our doorstep. Starve the war, not the people.